Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about a crowd favorite over here in America. We're talking Logan Sargent from Williams. While he's only a rookie right now, it was actually still pretty fun to learn about his journey onto the grid. So we're just gonna get right into it. On the episode, we have Rachel, LeAnne, Melissa, Hannah, and myself, Chelsea. And I'm going to pass it off to Mel, who's going to start us off.
Born on December 31st, the year 2000, Logan Sargent comes from the beautiful Boca Raton, Florida, which is a really nice area in Florida. I grew up there for a little bit, so it was kind of fun knowing that. Kind of wonder where he lived around there. Anywho, he is a younger brother to Dalton Sargent, who is a former NASCAR driver, and both sons to Harry Sargent III and Deborah Sargent. In an interview with GQ, it is shared that Logan attended school in Florida up until the fifth grade, so about like 9, 10 years old, when his family made the big decision to make a big move to Switzerland. Besides having more opportunities in motorsport, Logan's father also had business in the country as well. However, it came out that his father's business did have some legal trouble with the US government. We won't get into that because it is a lot. And while there isn't much information on the 22-year-old Florida man's personal life, let's get into how he started in the world of karting and beyond.
So Logan started competing in karting in the Rotax Micro Max class in regional and national championships in 2008. He finished third in the Florida Winter Tour and third in the Rotax Max Challenge USA. As Mel mentioned, his family moved to Switzerland, and once in Europe, he started competing in the ROK Cup International Final, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Trofeo delle Industrie, and the WSK Euro Series. In 2015, he won the CIK FIA World KFJ Championship, beating out current F2 driver Clement Novalak. This was the first time since 1978 that an American won an FIA Karting World Championship. His first senior karting title came the following year in the 2016 WSK Champions Cup, and he competed in the OK class.
Moving into the single seater series, we saw Logan join Formula 4 in the Middle East series for 2016 with Team Motorpark. Now, Logan did pretty well actually in the series, to be honest. While he didn't win a race this time, he finished on the podium 15 out of the 18 rounds in the series, and he placed second in total in the series championship. But while his first year was good and I think he did great getting second, I think 2017 was a better year for Logan in the sport, even if we did see him drop in the championship. But let me explain. Logan switched teams, first of all. He switched series locations and everything. He moved to the British Championship and he joined a really well known team, which is Carlin. Now, with the team, he did only get 10 podiums, yes, but this time, 2 of the podiums were first place finishes. Now, this was also the season where he was racing with Oscar Piastri, another driver we love on the grid. And it was so sweet because I got to see the little photos from when they were in this together when I was researching. So it's fun. They had a few videos too. He did end up finishing the season third. So, like I mentioned, he moved down. He was actually behind Oscar and his own teammate, Jamie Caroline. But I think besides that, it was still a really good season for him. Now, after competing in the Formula 4 series, he did briefly participate in the Formula Renault Euro Cup in 2018. And this was with the R Ace racing team, which, if you've followed other series, you might have heard about before. And he finished the series fourth, winning at Circuit of Paul Richard, the Nürburgring, and the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, so he ended the season with 218 points. Now, to me, these two little series went really well, and he ended up moving up and joining Formula 3, which Hannah will tell us more about.
Yes, with British F4 and Formula Renault Euro Cup podiums and wins under his belt from previous seasons, Logan Sargent arrived in the FIA Formula 3 with Carlin Buzz Racing for the 2019 season. The Americans' first year was not smooth sailing, though, but there were important results in several point scoring rounds. But he was dealt with some DNFs as well during the season. In 2020, a switch to Prema Racing seemed to have brought out the best in what you see in Logan, and he led the championship, the king of podiums and wins, including a Silverstone feature race victory. Heading into the final round at Mugello, it was a three-way battle for the title, with Sargent being in P2 at the standings prior to the final race. Opening lap contact in the final race of the season meant that he was just missed out on the title, finishing third in the end, 4 points away from glory. Sad days. He followed the 2020 year up with a stellar effort with Caru's racing system. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. For the 2021 season, taking 4 podiums, including a race victory in the final round, to finish 2021 7th in the championship. He was also named as a member of the Williams Driver Academy that season, setting up his route to Formula One pretty smoothly. Also, Caru's won their first victory in Formula 3, and Logan finished the campaign 7th in the Drivers' Championship, scoring 102 points of the team's 127 points total. Way to lead a team.
Now, Logan's start into Formula 2 was anything but unconventional. He made his debut in the series at the second to last race of the 2021 season, racing with HWA Race Lab. There, Logan finished the race in 16th and had to retire in the second sprint race of the weekend due to a mechanical problem, and ultimately ended placing 14th overall for the race weekend. However, in December 2021, it hit the news that Sargent would be racing with Carlin for the 2022 Formula 2 Championship alongside Liam Lawson as his teammate. Logan achieved his first podium finish at Barcelona sprint race and his first official Grand Prix podium finish at Baku. Then at Silverstone, Logan achieved his first pole position that turned into his first win of the season. Logan achieved a second win in the season after penalties and a disqualification was given to drivers who finished ahead of Logan's 4th place finish at the Red Bull Wing. So he was able to jump out 3 spaces in the podium, and I love that for him. What luck. And then Logan was able to achieve one more pole at the Circuit Paul Ricard, but unfortunately had to retire from that race. Sadly, more retirements came for the rest of the season, and Logan finished 4th in the Drivers' Championship with 148 points. And he was only 1 point behind his teammate Liam Lawson, which to me is actually not that bad considering that he only had 2 wins and 2 podium finishes. So gotta give the kid his credit.
So, as Hannah mentioned, in 2021 at the USGP, it was announced that Logan would be joining the Williams Driver Academy. That same year, he got his first experience in an F1 car at postseason testing in Abu Dhabi. Then he made his F1 practice debut the following year at the USGP, so 2022 season, and he was the first American driver to take part in a weekend session since Alexander Rossi in 2015. He took part in 3 more sessions throughout the rest of the season at the Mexico City GP, the Sao Paulo GP, and the final Abu Dhabi GP. And at the USGP in 2022, Williams' team principal at the time, Jos Capito, also confirmed that Logan would be driving for Williams provided he obtained the necessary super license points. And in order to do this, he had to finish at least 5th in the F2 championship. He could have gotten the points by finishing 6th as long as he had no penalty points. He ended up finishing the F2 championship in 4th place, securing the necessary points for his super license and thus his seat at Williams for the 2023 season. The official announcement that Logan would be replacing Nicholas Latifi for the 2023 season came on November 21st, 2022, after the Abu Dhabi GP weekend. So his first season in F1 this year, 2023, it's been a bit rough, a bit eventful. Overall, he has finished above 15th place in 5 races, below 15th place in 7, and he's retired from 4 races so far. I'm not going to give like a full recap of every race because that's a lot. But some of the highlights are he qualified 16th at the first race in Bahrain, and he actually had the same time as Lando, but Lando set his time first, so he moved on to Q2 over Logan. But Logan still went on to place 12th in his debut race. And at the Australian GP, he retired after colliding with Nick DeVries during that insane multi-car crash that happened after the third restart. And I think we can all agree that that race was kind of just like a fever dream in itself. He was classified as 16th, though, in the final standing for that race. He finished 13th at the Austrian GP, which that GP was also kind of a fever dream with how many lap times got deleted and the amount of penalties that were handed out over the course of the weekend. But he ended up finishing 11th at the British GP, 4 seconds behind Carlos after the Austrian GP. And he made it to Q3 for the first time at the Dutch GP, but he crashed on his outlap, so he started the race in 10th. And unfortunately, he also ended up crashing out on lap 14 of the race. And then in Qatar, he ended up retiring due to not feeling well, which it sounds really simple, but as we all know, the conditions on that track were brutal, and all of the drivers were struggling with the intense heat. And Logan had been feeling ill earlier that week, and that combined with the heat was just too much. And honestly, I applaud him for listening to his body and retiring the car. I think that took a lot of courage, and especially when you consider the backlash that he's been getting throughout the season. So most recently, he finished 12th at the USGP in Austin, just behind Alex in 11th. And now we all remember the absolutely devastating disqualification of Lewis and Charles from the USGP this year. And while, again, that was devastating, the revised results put our Williams boys up into 9th and 10th, getting Williams their double points finish for the first time this season, and Logan scoring his first points in F1. He's actually the first American to score points in F1 since Michael Andretti 30 years ago in 1993.
But if you're listening and you're a fan of F1, you already know that as much as we love Logan this season, it's only his first season. So we're going to talk a little more instead about what he does off the grid. We're going to guess how it's going to go for him next year. And I'm really hoping that these last two races give him that boost to keep him for 2024. Or he's going to end up fishing every day after this season.
I mean, it is Florida. I mean, it's pretty common. And I don't know how long he lived in Florida before moving overseas, but it makes sense a little. And what were you saying,
No.
Rachel?
Oh, I was saying I firmly believe that he would be the kind of guy to have him holding a fish as one of the photos in his dating profile. He gives those vibes.
Just thinking of the area like where he's from, and I have family from like Florida, like in like central, like they're kind of everywhere, and they're very big boat people, and will go through like the canals of Florida and spend time, and will go fishing. So 110%, we definitely know Logan is one of those Florida men on a boat Memorial Day weekend, probably fishing the day away. Or maybe in those like little like the gator stuff, I can kind of see him doing that too. Whatever, like when they go to like the springs, I think it is, or I don't know. I just think of like that Jersey Shore episode when they went like to see like gators, and I can see Logan doing that.
Honestly, the only two things I could think of Logan having for hobbies down here was going to the Homestead track or the Daytona track when he was bored and going fishing. There's really not much else to do in Florida unless you want to go shopping and spend your money at one of the malls or go get drunk, which he's too young to do still, I think.
Oh, he's 22.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He's free to do what he wants.
But
He's still a baby in my eyes.
yeah, but it's legal to start drinking at 18 in like the UK and stuff. So he's been starting a little early. It's not fair to
That's
us
so
US
unfair.
people.
I'm just saying. I know plenty of people that were already drinking by 18. They might as well have just done it legally, you know?
It's very true.
But no,
It's very
we had
true.
to lie.
As far as next season, I do hope he keeps his seat, and I've seen a few things, and I don't remember who said it, but someone was talking about how Williams is trying to get away from being the Mercedes development team, and they want to develop their own drivers. And so sacking Logan after his first season when he's like one of their picks, their driver to develop, just doesn't really make sense. He's been improving and he's shown that he has the capabilities. He just needs a little bit of help.
Okay, wait. I just remember this because there's a really good reason they probably won't fire Logan, and that's that Williams is trying to become the American team. Even though they're not based in America, when we were in CODA, we went to this Williams event and they were just talking about like things that they're doing, marketing, etc. It wasn't like drivers talking, it was like personnel. And there was a man talking about something with marketing and Williams and how they're trying to present themselves. And he's like, we are becoming the American team. And they have to keep Logan if they want to do that because right now he is the American driver. And they also just signed an American driver for F1 Academy. So, like, they are sticking their guns to it. And Duracell is a partner with them. So, like, they're really trying to be that American team.
And they're doing a really good job at it.
I was also going to say, yeah, haven't they like been getting a lot of American sponsors like Duracell, and I can't think of any others, but like they have a lot of like a decent amount of American sponsors.
Oh no, I googled it. They have a US beer brand. Oh, they have Ultra as one of their sponsors. Michael Ultra, and
I
the
had
trade
those for
company
free at their event.
Stream. Yes, that's right, and that's an American beer. So that's the other American thing they have going, and then Pure Stream, which I've heard of, but I'm not sure what it is.
And isn't Kraken the crypto or NFT? I don't remember what they do. Aren't they an American? Yeah.
Yes. They are based in LA, and if I'm not mistaken, and they actually ended up having like a pop up event in Austin, like with the announcement of like the new sponsorship and
That's
all
where
of
I heard
that.
it.
Yeah. And it's also now on their hats, like on the side, like the Kraken logo. I saw that at the Las Vegas GP. Like they posted some pictures and I saw it, and it was the first time I got to see the logo, and I was like, oh, cool. It's officially official type of thing.
I think they're doing a good job. I feel like their marketing team has really gone gun ho on being like the American team. Like you see it on their TikTok, their like Instagram, their Twitter, and I respect it because I don't think they're doing it badly. Like they could have gone like hoorah and done really weird shit, but they have just done like the perfect amount of meme American for Logan's marketing campaign that it has worked so well with the generation that he's from, and like I think ours as well. So I've really enjoyed seeing like Logan's popularity either go really weird because I mean, like we already mentioned, it's a lot of good and a lot of bad, but I feel like it's starting to get a lot better.
Yeah, I will say at the beginning of the season, like just before it started or whatever, where they did that photo shoot in New York, that threw me off a little bit because I was like, okay, that's a little too on the nose. But they've gotten really, really, like, they've gotten a lot better with it. That one threw me off a little bit. And then he just did a, like, profile article thing in Flaunt magazine that was, I just read it and I looked at everything, and that was really good. It was really well done. I personally think it was better than the GQ Sports article that he had come out back in May. The photos were better. The article was a little bit better. So he's getting a lot of press in American magazines, and like they're really, Williams is becoming more American than the actual American team.
They're not being cheesy about it. They're being like subtle about it, and they're doing the right moves without necessarily like inserting themselves and taking claim, if that makes sense. Because they're like, we're doing these small steps to prove that we can be the US team, and like, hold on, we'll do it better. We'll just take it from you before you even realize. But I will say, in regards to Logan, like kind of staying, I think that he will 100% stay for another season. You look back at Alex this season, first year with Red Bull, he had a really, really bad year. And like they ended up keeping him, moving him back down. And look at him today. He is absolutely killing it because he was given a chance to adjust to Formula One and adjust to the atmosphere and how everything works. So I think we could see Logan like really sticking or stepping it up next year and doing a really good job. I think rookies should deserve a chance, at least for a little while.
No, I agree. I think that their first year, the first season is a little bit, there's a learning curve. I mean, it's very different. The weekends look different. F2 doesn't do nearly as much press for the race weekend as F1 does. So I think Logan had mentioned like Thursdays, they're getting ready. They're practicing. They're kind of prepping when they're in F2, but Thursdays in F1 are it's all media pretty much. I mean, I think it's like an hour or two of like actual prep for the race weekend. And then they go into Friday with free practice sessions. Or if it's a sprint weekend, they only get one practice session before quali, which is newer. So that's, I think, very different. And there's definitely a learning curve. And I think that it takes like definitely more than one season to really kind of get the hang of it, unless you're like Max Verstappen, who's just like, he's an outlier. He's 100% an outlier. I also think that Williams doesn't want to be like they don't want the same like thing as Red Bull, where they're like kicking drivers to the curb just because they're not doing as well as they want them to. But there's still room for improvement. There's always room for improvement.
I think if you were to treat the Red Bull F1 team like a company, like if you were to go in for an interview and be like, oh, what's the turnover rate in the company like? And Red Bull told you what their turnover rate was, you wouldn't want to work for that company as a driver. You do now, a lot of drivers do, obviously, because of the title and because they just want to drive the car for a season. But like, if it was just you going in for a normal job and you heard what you wouldn't want, you'd be like, okay, thank you. This sounds like a pyramid scheme. I'm gonna go now. So that's the only problem. And it sucks because I do love what Red Bull does. Like, I go to their events that they host and like their extreme events. But I will say, if I was another team, I would want to be more of a nurturing team principal than getting the winner already. Because I feel like that's what Red Bull expects. They expect to get the driver ready to win, not the driver they need to teach to win. I'm sad to say Logan's not there yet. But maybe one day we'll see Logan there.
I do like the driver pairing they have at Williams though, like him and Alex. Like it's kind of like nice because at least like I know like Alex when he had that year off, I think he was like he did something with Yuki is what I heard, kind of like an advising position. I might be wrong and I might be way, way off. So don't hold me to this. But I think he did something around that realm and it's nice that he can kind of have like that mentor role with Logan, especially yeah, it's his first season and all this stuff, especially the pressure he's under because I mean, we see how the other rookies are doing and how Liam, his former teammate, performed for what was it, like 3, 4 races. So I think just imagine how that could affect your psyche. But I want to see more of the American man, the Florida man racing. I kind of like his little energy that he brings around.
I agree. I love the pairing. I said this in our astrology episode a few weeks ago. If you want to hear more about it, go listen. But Alex is an Aries, Logan is a Capricorn, and as an Aries with a Capricorn best friend that's a little bit younger than me, it's very much like a mentor-mentee relationship, kind of. And Capricorns are really hard on themselves. Aries are really hard-headed and determined, and it's a good pairing because Alex can keep him in the mindset of no, you can do this. You just have to keep going when Logan wants to give up, because that's kind of what I see with me and my best friend is like she'll want to give up, and I'm like, no, you can do it. Keep going. Don't let the little things like stop you. They posted a video earlier today where they went and visited the Las Vegas hockey team. I don't know what they're called, so I'm not gonna. I don't know what the name is, but Logan and Alex are like joking around, and Alex is like, "You're gonna get hate for this," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a Florida Panthers boy," and then the mascot's like, "Get out." It's just a really funny and like casual video, and I think Alex and Logan are really good driver pairing.
I will say, since, Alex has been that one that's been booted to the curb, and I think, and he's been through the stress of how it feels. And so he could probably relate to a little bit of Logan and like what Logan's dealing with now, and like giving him advice to like do better and like stick it through. And like you said, be that mentor, be that person for him. And Alex is so shy, but then when you get him like laughing and bubbly, like that man has got a smile like from ear to ear, and it's amazing to see like someone go from just being so mellow to like light up the world. And I think Logan is very shy because he's still like learning and getting used to this. So I'm excited to see once like the boots come off and you're no longer a rookie, how like he'll act.
And sign next year. I hope he brings more America energy. Like America. I need that from him. Like I just need him to be that little like stereotype for like a race. A US race, the Miami one, there's a great opportunity for that. But I just want to see that energy come from him because Williams is like giving it like you guys said, like they even said, they're becoming more of an American team. So it's like, let's take advantage. Let's do it. Something fun.
I agree. I was gonna say, I think if he stays for next season, which I do think he's going to, it'll be a little bit better. He's not kind of getting thrown into this like a media frenzy, because when the GQ article came out, he was still kind of, they in the article like he's cocooned in anonymity. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Um, he was still anonymous. Not everybody knew him, but now everybody knows who he is. He's had these huge crowds come and meet him and at the driver engagements. And I would be intimidated by that. If I've never really experienced that before, I would be nervous. I have stage fright. That would be scary. And I feel like he's probably still getting used to that. And I think maybe next season he'll be more used to it and he'll be able to kind of like let go a little bit with all of that, and hopefully we'll get some more America energy.
I honestly think they're going to retain him just fine. And the only reason I think he's going to be just fine is because I think it was last month, like Logan said what his to-do list was to stay for the team. And it was literally be clean and consistent. I think he's been able to do that since October so far. I'm hoping he's able to do it in Vegas now because I don't know, like we're gonna have a whole episode for this, but I'm a little scared about what Vegas is going to do. And for someone like Logan, who's a rookie, and not hitting, oh God, I hope not hitting, but using a car that's very, very fast. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about the rookies this weekend. Like, I'm almost worried for everyone, but specifically the rookies.
I think it's hard to not worry about them, to be honest with you. You got to see a little bit of a brief preview of an F1 car go around the track, and it was absolute chaos. And so, if that's any indication of the race, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat, hoping for the best of everybody and they make it out safe.
At least if it's an interesting or chaotic race as we're thinking it will be, it'll help with the late times we got to deal with. Rach doesn't have to deal with it because she's on West Coast time, our West Coast girly, but us Central and Eastern Standard Time, yeah, that 1 o'clock, I think too. I don't even know at this point. I'm just gonna be there with like my eyes peeled. So if it happens, it'll make it easier for me to stay awake.
I will say, I hope they don't hold. I really hope they don't hold Vegas against him if anything happens, because none of the drivers have driven on this track before, and that wouldn't be fair. I mean, you'd have to hold it against all of them. I'm very nervous about that pit lane exit. That is what's concerning me right now. the most. That and the fact that it's going to be kind of cold.
I'm just hoping for a safe weekend. Like I said, we're going to talk about this in the next episode, but Logan is a rookie. And this race technically is in its rookie year. And I just don't know how that's going to work. But I'm just hoping the clean and consistent doesn't apply to Vegas because it's new for everyone. I hope clean and consistent just applies now to Abu Dhabi, which honestly I have for some reason like a good amount of faith in Logan for that one. I don't know if it's just because it seems like a good race in general, like the track is really good. But we'll see what happens. I'm very excited to hear about his contract renewal. So
I will say, no amount of sim racing you do on a track to prepare you is ever going to actually prepare you for being in that car. No matter what track, no matter what style, and all that. So, for all of these drivers and the rookies, especially throughout the whole season, racing on tracks that they've never raced before, I mean, it's got to be hard, and it's got to be challenging in a way to like have to figure it out like in the moment and not be able to go like second guess myself.
I will say in regards to Abu Dhabi, he has done, postseason testing and everything. Like he's driven this track before, so I do have faith that he will do really well just because he does know this one. This is one he's familiar with. He's driven this before. So it's familiar, and I think it'll be a lot better than Las Vegas. And before we close it out, a iconic quote from our iconic American boy from the USGP Williams event. I can confirm I do in fact know what a kilometer is, in reference to the WTF is a kilometer meme. An icon. We love it.
I mean, what else can you say for this American boy but America, y'all? He's done the best he could. This season's coming to an end. We're going to turn the page, close the book, start a new one in a little bit. So good luck for the last couple, Logan, and we'll see you next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Goodbye. So glad we finally got to do Logan's Spotlight, if I'm honest. I've been waiting for this one for the sweet little boy. Send us your crystal ball predictions for Logan's next season. Everywhere we are at Paddock Girls Podcast, except for Twitter. There you can find us at Paddock Girls Pod. Thank you so much for joining us in the paddock. We'll see you after Vegas, baby.
bye.
Bye.
Adios.
See you later. Have a good one.
Viva Las Vegas.
Hasta la vista, baby.